In Lesson 1, you understood an entire conversation before we taught you a single sign. Then we showed you 100 signs you'd understand even if we didn't teach them. In Lesson 2, we showed you that you can communicate lots of information with just facial expressions, and how very, very important your facial expressions are in sign language. In Lesson 3, you learned that you must adjust your signs to the situation, because drinking from a water fountain is different from a hose or a straw. In Lesson 4, we showed you many signs for things that are just one piece of the visual picture they represent. In Lesson 5, we showed you that lots of signs for actions look just like the real actions. In Lesson 6, you learned to form the 26 letters of the manual alphabet. We also showed you 1 through 20, and 30, 40, 50, up to 100, and promised we would get to the rest of the numbers in a later lesson. So, since Lesson 6, you've been able to fingerspell any word you didn't know a sign for. Yet. In Lesson 7, we showed you again that many signs for things are just a part of the visual picture they represent. But this time, the part is also moving. In Lesson 8, we showed you that lots of signs for characteristics, like blurry and dark, look just like the characteristics they represent. In Lesson 9, you learned signs for things that are based on what we do with them and to them. In Lesson 10, you learned that you can use your index finger to represent a person from head to toe, or a thing. We also showed you how to use the rest of your fingers to represent many people or many things. In Lesson 11, you learned that you can use the V to represent a person from the waist down, your fist to represent a person's head, your two palms to represent 2 feet, and A hands that often show the relationship between two people or things. And in Lesson 12, you learned to use the V to represent eyes for sight-related signs, and how to use your fingers to represent words in talk-related signs.